Hello everyone. So I am going to give you a tour of my back deck garden now for the beginning of July. This deck is also 18 by 19 square feet. There's a little less space here because of the air conditioning unit and it gets the morning sun. So like full sun out here, but it's all the morning sun, which is a little bit gentler, which some of my plants absolutely love. Also, if I look a little bit extra fancy right now, we are headed to a wedding this evening, but I figured why not have a little extra fancy garden tour in the afternoon? So let me show you what everything is looking like for early July. First, let me do a quick sweep of the garden so you can see how everything's looking. Not even everything that I planted is in bloom yet, and it already looks so pretty. I'm so excited. As a reminder, this did not exist last year. So I had a few like overflow plants from the front garden last year, but that was it. I didn't have any raised beds. I definitely didn't have any sort of plan for a garden back here. And then this year I kind of went, well, full-blown garden, sticking with a color scheme, or attempting to stick with a color scheme of pinks, purples, oranges, and whites. But first, let me start the tour with some things that you probably don't get to see very often because they're not supposed to be up here, but they are for now. First, these 4 pots right here. These are normally down on our front gate or our front fence at the front of our house, inside of the railscapes, which I showed you, which kind of lift the pot off of the ground so they're like kind of floating in mid-air. I moved them up here last week for the Mackinac Island trip so that whoever was watering our plants didn't have to go down and up. Everything was in one place. But where these are normally at downstairs is only part sun. It's full sun up here, and these are much happier up here. So what I'm going to do is keep them up here for now. Then we have our garden walk next week, or about 2 weeks from now, and I will move them back down. But I want to make them look as full and as beautiful as I possibly can. I also stuck with the pink, purple, and orange theme for downstairs. So these 2 pots are the exact same. These 2 pots are the exact same. And now let me show you what is inside of them. This pot here has a petunia from, I think it was Ball Floral, but it's the Easy Wave Lavender Sky Blue petunia. Then I have a Super Bells Double Orange, and I have Safari Dawn James Britannia, which is kind of a combination of pink and yellow. So those are the 3 plants in here. And then the 3 plants I have in here are basically the same plants, just different colors. So here for the petunia, this is the Easy Wave Neon Rose. The Super Bells is Double Amber, which is more yellowish compared to the Double Orange, obviously. And then Safari Dusk James Britannia, which instead of being pink and yellow is purple and orange. And again, just repeating that for those other 2 pots back there. But I'm really loving the combination and how all of the flowers are kind of growing together. Then the row of plants behind those are what's going to be here throughout the entire season. So first I have a dahlia. All of my dahlias back here are the ones I had last year that I overwintered in my garage and then brought them inside, I think around March, to get them to pre-sprout and then move them outside permanently in May. This one here was labeled Emery Paul, but when it bloomed last year, it looked more like Michaela Miranda, so that's what I'm assuming it was. I have my lemon tree, which had pretty bad aphids, but it is now recovering with a lot of fresh growth. There is a larger lemon up top there, some smaller lemons that have just started to form. Then I have my 2 columnar apple trees. This again was a kit that I got from Park Seed, but I also saw people get these same 2 varieties from other places, so I don't think it's a Park Seed, specific combination of plants, but they are 2 columnar apple trees. The one on the left is Scarlet Sentinel, and the one on the right is White Icicle. Next, I have my 1 dwarf cherry tree that didn't die. This is the Wowza cherry tree. And then this dahlia on this side is my Thomas A. Edison dahlia, which will be a deep purple flower. Can't wait for these to flower. I'm starting to see some flowers forming there. So hopefully in the next week or 2, we'll have some dahlia blooms. I have my composter, and there is a happy little pollinator flying around. Interesting looking one. What are you? I don't know if you guys can see very well from back there. I haven't had as many pollinators in the garden as normal, which is, concerning to say the least. but I feel like finally this week they've started to pop back out. Now before I start along the back wall, which I think is my favorite part of the garden, let me show you what I'm growing here in the center. So first I have a pink diamond dicentra. This is a perennial. I like the foliage on this one because it does tend towards the bluish green, although the new growth is more yellow green when it first comes out, and they have cute little pink flowers. Then I have 3 containers of the pink Truffula gomphrena. These are definitely the pots that dry out the fastest, that I have to water the most often, but I had some extra gomphrena and I wasn't going to not plant it, so I do have some of these 8-inch terracotta pots around this back deck garden with the gomphrena inside of it. This little floral box, plastic flower box, is also supposed to be downstairs, but I brought it up again for watering, and it's been happier up here. But this has the Supertunia Vista bubblegum, Supertunia Vista fuchsia over here, and then I just have a sweet potato vine in the front. So this has started to fill out nicely. It's definitely way too small a container for the plants, but that is the story of my life and my garden. So I'm going to leave this up here again until we have our garden walk and then move it back downstairs. This pot to the left of my chair there, and then this pot over here are the exact same. So first I have another Easy Wave Petunia Silver. I really love this color. I mean, it's basically white on the outside, but with purple near the inside. It's really, really pretty. I have the Super Bells Double Smitten Pink right there. Really love the different contrasting pinks in this flower. And then I also have the Double Delight Apple Blossom Begonia, which is so pretty, maybe one of the prettiest begonias I have ever grown. Now let's head over to my favorite part of the garden. Apologies to the rest of my garden for saying that. Oh, there's a butterfly, and of course it flies away. Wait, hello. Nope, it's gone. So back in the left here, I had an evergreen, and then it just started to turn yellow and die. I don't know. I mean, the pot has drainage holes. I don't know if it was not enough drainage holes, so it was basically all yellow when I got back from Mackinac. It wasn't an underwatering issue. If anything, it was too much moisture or something else just completely took it out. So I popped in a hydrangea here. It's not the best hydrangea. It was one that was blooming, earlier than it would if it was out in the landscape. I got it because it was early spring and I needed some color, but I also can't bring myself to get rid of it. So it is sitting in that pot now, but it's definitely not my happiest looking hydrangea that I have here. Actually, let me come back this way. I love this view in the garden. Everything is so full, and again, a lot is not blooming yet, so I can't wait for it to actually bloom. There are 3 raised beds here, which you can barely tell because they are now covered with plants, but this one and the last one down there have the exact same planting, and then the one in the middle is, again, similar flowers, but different colors of those flowers. Let's actually, well, I might have to get a different angle now. This bed here, and then again the bed at the other end. In the corners I have Supertunia Vista Jazzberry. There's one plant there, one plant there, slowly taking over everything around it. And then one of my favorites that I got this year too is this tricolor sweet potato vine. I wasn't sure if it would handle the sun up here because right now we are maybe around like 233. It really gets full shade back here around 4, but it's been holding up and trailing even down to the ground. So I'm really excited with how that's turned out. This is in the center of every single of the 3 raised beds. Then I have some asters, which are close to blooming, but not yet. And these are Bonita Shell Pink. They'll be a light pink color. In the back, I have Giant Benary Wine zinnias, which are kind of like a deep fuchsia maroon color. I don't think any here have bloomed yet, but a couple in the other bed have. And also, so there's actually 2 zinnias right here. One that I started inside died, so I started some seeds. I actually need to thin these because there are 2 of them, but these are the ones that I just started from seed a few weeks ago. Also, this plant was being floppy, so I just stuck a plastic nursery container back here to keep it upright, and that has worked really well. Then in the back corners, I have an apricot color status to kind of bring in a little bit of that orange color. These plants have definitely been flopping in the rain that we've been having, so luckily they are starting to find their way back up. But yeah, I mean, this bed is so full already, and not everything is even in bloom. The dahlia in this grow bag here is my Otto's Thrill, again from last year, overwintered inside the garage. In front of this raised bed, I have, again, one terracotta pot of the Truffula Pink Gomphrena. Then I have this combination in this pot, which has completely taken over, and I absolutely love it. There are actually 4 plants in here. So in the back is the A Romance Pink Nemesia. The Nemesia are just doing outstanding back here. Then over here I have the Superbena Pink Cashmere Verbena, also looking stunning. I have the Superbena Sparkling Rosé right here. And then of course I have to have another Supertunia, and this one here is the Supertunia Mini Vista Sweet Sangria. So that is what is in this pot. And swinging around, it's also, oh, butterfly. And it's also what's in this pot right here. So that has the exact same combination. Now here I also have a Supertunia Mini Vista Sweet Sangria, and I have the zinnia, which is Queen Lime. So it is the lime colored zinnia in the Queen Lime series. I have already cut a few of these. I absolutely love them. Another Gomphrena, and then this also has the same Supertunia and the Queen Lime red. I think I like the red even more. It definitely looks more like pinky than red, but I absolutely love that flower. Now, in the middle here, for this bed, again, similar flowers to the other beds, but different colors. So I still have the tricolor sweet potato vine right there. I have the Supertunia Vista Fuchsia in the 2 corners. And then the asters that I have here are the Lady Coral Lavender. We are so close to having an aster flower, which seems a little early, but I will take early blooms. Then in the back I have Cosmos, which is the Cupcake Blush variety. They got pretty beaten in the rain, but I did want to leave some so you can see what it looks like. This is the only one that's blooming. I have 3 back here. The other 2, so this one on the left is bloomed. The other 2 are huge, much larger than that one, and haven't bloomed. So it's just interesting to see what plants do. I have another dahlia here. This is also an Otto's Thrill dahlia, the same as the one on the other side of this bed. I have another Truffula Pink Gomphrena pot, and then again this bed is the exact same as the bed on the left. Now let me show you the blue that snuck into my garden. So this is a Tough Stuff Aha hydrangea. I've been reading up on hydrangeas, trying to learn a lot about them this summer, and I found that the mountain type hydrangea, which is what this one is, does better in colder weather, especially in containers. Now, I know that you can change the color if you acidify the soil. I thought because I wasn't going to acidify the soil, the flowers would be pink. But clearly, the nursery or the grower did a lot of work already with the acidification of this. Acidification? Is that a word? I don't know, it is now. I mean, I love them. I love these flowers. The blue is stunning. So even though I wasn't planning to have blue in the garden, I'm very happy that I do. So this hydrangea has done wonderfully. Hydrangea was one of the plants that I grew on the front deck, west-facing sun last year, and it hated it. All of mine that were back there burnt and could not handle the sun, but the morning sun here, morning, early afternoon sun here has been really great. Now I have my little shade border here, which was, I think, one of the last things I planted in the garden. So first I have 3 of these tiny quickfire hydrangeas. This one with the name tag I got sent from Proven Winners. These 2 I overwintered in the garage. They were from the Grand Garden Show, so you can see how much larger they are, but they don't have any flowers yet. Then I have my shade border, which is again in sun, where I have 2 varieties of caladium. I have the white star caladium right there, and then the lavender caladium right there. I also was getting tired of waiting for them to fill in, so I added some pink polka dot plants that I picked up from Home Depot. So that's what I have all along here, and I think it looks really pretty. Before I get too far down there and forget about my plum tree again, like I did last tour, this is my beach plum tree. It's Beach, and I put in a petunia below, and then I have a super bells over there because I ran out of room for those and wanted to put them somewhere. I was wondering how they would do. So I'm watering this very large pot for my plum tree. I'm not watering extra for the petunias, so I'm just watering as my plum tree would need it, maybe about once every 7 to 10 days, and the flowers underneath have done fine. So we'll kind of see if that continues throughout the summer. We still haven't had those like super, super hot 90 and above degree days yet. We'll see what happens then, but that companion planting so far has been working out. But I love this because it adds this vertical space to my garden, which I usually don't have. And speaking of vertical space, I also have my 3 randomly thrown together floral boxes, which are heavier. So they're not plastic, obviously. They are much heavier weight so they don't blow over. I think there are 2 plants in that one and then 3 in each of these. So I am expecting to have a big bushel of flowers completely covering the containers at some point, unless the budworms get to them. Down here I have another perennial. This is a peppermint patty bergania. It did already flower, but even so, I love these leaves. I think these are so cool. My plan is going to be to try to overwinter this, but the leaves are also very thick. I don't know, I really like the look of this plant. It's unlike anything I've ever grown up here before. Then I have another hydrangea. This one is a mini variety. It's called Wee Bit Grumpy. Then this is the last section of my garden. And first off, well, one, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I decided to zip tie some of my trellises together because the morning glory had already reached the top of the first one. And so far those are holding up. But also look, they found each other and it looks like they're holding hands. So I think that is really cute. So the morning glory are growing in flower boxes. I also threw one of my asters, which I can't remember which one, but an extra one I had and couldn't get rid of. One's there, another zinnia is back there because that is the kind of person I am. I cannot throw plants away, so I will shove them in places they probably would need a little bit more space, but I don't know. We'll see how they do. So far, so good. Here we have a Biden's. I think this is called marshmallow. The word marshmallow is in it. Let me see here. Campfire marshmallow. This is a new for 2024. Absolutely love it. Then I have another perennial here, which I'm absolutely loving. This is the Rack and Grow Midnight Velvet Sedum. It was very small when I first got it, so I wasn't sure if it was going to fill out this pot, but it has put on so much new growth already. And again, I'm loving the kind of deeper colored flowers, the more lean towards bluish, thicker leaves. I think it's a really cool perennial. Also going to try to overwinter this one, but I think it might eventually need to be in a larger pot. So we will see what I do with that. Then over here, I have Feverfew, which I got from a friend. These do bloom later, and you can see here they are just starting to get their flowers. I think this is so pretty. Over in this container, well, first I'll start with a zinnia because I don't know what it is. I got this from the same friend that got me the Feverfew, basically just swapped some seeds and plants, but it's a very, very pale peach color. I've already again harvested some of these, but that is absolutely beautiful. Then also in this pot is another one of the Super Bells Double Amber, and then also a Cleome, which is called Lavender Dreams, that has just bloomed spectacularly so far throughout the season. Now in these last 2 pots, so here is an osteosperma that I planted down in our front pots, again, which didn't get enough sun. So I basically cut it back, it was getting leggy, and I'm gonna see if it blooms. Hopefully it will, but I just moved that up last week, I think. And then the rose you just saw me plant, I believe this was the official like last pot in my garden that I filled up. But it's the Flavorette Honey Apricot. And so this is one of the older blooms. Very, very light kind of blush peach. Probably need to deadhead that one. And then this is kind of the flower in its prime. How pretty is that? So that's everything that I have in this garden. One last little sweep here. But oh man, I love this side so much. I love both sides, but I think because this one has that new factor, I'm just very, well, impressed with it, but also, you know, myself and the work that I put into this garden. So that is what my garden looks like on the back deck in early July. I still can't believe none of this was here last year. I love this space so much. I spend more of my time out here probably compared to the front just because the couch is out here and that's where I like to relax and read in the early evening. But this space has definitely brought me so much joy, as both of my gardens do. So check out the playlist below for the other garden tours if you want to see last month. Obviously there's no 2022 comparison because there wasn't really much out here. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.